Hi, this is Stacia, and I'm going to show you the fourth game that I played, round four, at the Cleveland Open. This was played on August 13th of 2017, and I played the white pieces against Patrick Kidwell, rated 1312, and I'm rated 1450 in this particular game. Okay, and this game was a closed Catalan. So knight f3, he played bishop e7, and black usually plays knight f6, and then I play g3. But in this case, he played bishop e7 first. So I went ahead and played g3 anyway, and then he played knight f6. So we got sort of this typical Catalan position where white is going to fianchetto their kingside bishop, and yet holds the center with this c4 d4 structure. The close Catalan, or the Catalan in general, is kind of interesting because you let your c pawn hang, and if black should take it, you get a stronger center and you can recapture the pawn pretty much. So, all right, I played bishop g2. He played knight b to d7, which is sort of a rare move here. Castle, castle. And now I have my choice of plans. And so I thought here, and I came up with the move b3. Turns out this is the second most common line in theory. And the setup I want to do is I want to put my bishop on b2, my knight on c3, my queen on c2, swing my rooks over, and play for an e5 break. It's pretty much the plan I was going for. And my opponent really should play b6, c6, bishop b7. And they would usually like to get an e5 break in. All right, so rook e8. Yeah, I was just, the reason I made these arrows is because sometimes I feel uncomfortable putting my bishop on these squares in the Catalan because it's not really stable on any of them. But that being said, it probably is fine. So knight c3. Okay, and my opponent played knight f8 here. A strange move. Computer doesn't really like it. Says white has a pretty decent advantage after this. But I think the reason is because with the knight on g6, and when white has played this g3 move, the knight's kind of dead. There is no attack or anything. I mean, it's just unable to move. The only plus side I can see is that the knight will support the e5 break later. But you're spending 2 tempos to put the knight on a strange square. Okay, so I played bishop b2. Yeah, and again, I'm just showing that his bishop would be better on b7. But he played c6. Okay, so I thought his idea was, he's going to get this e5 break because his knight's on g6, and then his bishop could come to g4. All right, I played my rook over. And here I really expected bishop b4, pinning my knight to the rook. But he didn't play that. He played bishop f8. And so this is fine, according to the computer, because I realized his idea, again, was e5. So, by putting his bishop on f8, now the rook is supporting e5 as well. And he's pretty much ready to play it. All right, I played rook a to d1, just getting my last piece into the game before I break with e4. Queen c7, getting off there, x-raying his own pin. And now the move h3. This looks slow, and I'm sure it is. But I was anticipating e5, and I wanted to stop the bishop from coming to g4, or possibly the knight. And so I'm trying to make like useful waiting moves. I actually wanted him to play e5 because I thought, the more ready I am for the game to open up, then when he plays e5, maybe I'll have an advantage. but he developed his bishop. And again, computer doesn't like this move. It says now white should play e4 with a pretty decent advantage, like almost a full pawn's worth. And okay, I played e4. This was correct. So I'm happy I did this, but my play goes downhill very fast. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this. I had to do like a practice run of this video, but yeah, I don't know. I think out of all the rounds at the Cleveland Open, this is the game that I'm a little disappointed with my play. And you'll see what I mean, but okay, I'm not a strong player necessarily, so I'm going to make mistakes. The question is, will I learn from them? All right, so knight takes e4, knight takes e4. And now I faced an interesting decision here, one that I'm not really familiar with. And that's whether I should take with the queen or the rook. Afterward, I realized that taking with the queen is probably better because you centralize your queen and the rook's kind of awkward out on the fourth rank, you know, with this many pieces and pawns on the board. So it wasn't necessarily a good idea. And sure enough, the computer says it's much better to take with the queen. The other thing about this is, do you notice a pattern that could be a problem here? That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so e5, and then I quickly played d takes e5. And okay, my opponent thought a while, and then I saw the move he was going to play. And I had to hold my poker face because I was pretty upset when I saw it. Bishop f5. All right, and this is bad, right? He's skewering me. I looked for a while, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, trying to find a way out of this, and I just couldn't. And sure enough, the computer agrees there is no way to get out of this. But what's surprising is the evaluation the computer gives is minus 0.5. So even though I'll be down in exchange, the computer thinks I have a lot of compensation. So very interesting. I think my pieces are just better situated and maybe I have an attack. But hard for me to see that. I just felt kind of bummed out. All right, and queen e2, not a good move. I should have did something useful here, but I didn't. All right, and now I tried to gather myself. I was kind of upset, obviously, that I lost an exchange right in the early middle game like that. But, you know, in chess, you just take a look at the puzzle in front of you and you solve it, you know, no need to get emotional about it. So that is what I tried to do the rest of the game. Although my goal is a little different now. I'm going to play more aggressive. I'm going to try and make it complicated. Because if I just simplify the position, I'll lose. But there's certainly ways to do that in chess, so I made that my mission here. And sure enough, this game does get crazy, so I must have succeeded on that at least. Now my opponent played a5. Interesting move. I thought maybe he was going for a6. Just mangling my pawns. I don't know. Kind of a strange move. And I played a4. So, or I'm sorry, h4. So yeah, I'm gonna go for that king. I'm not messing around. He played f6. This is not a good move. I mean, I guess he was hoping I would take quickly again and lose my queen. That would have been a great way to end it, but luckily I saw it this time, and I played the move e6. So now I have a passed pawn in the center of the board. Hard to say if the pawn is good or just weak. Probably just weak, but it is a little bit complicating, so I played that. He played bishop d6. I played h5. And now I missed this. The knight drops back to f8, and now he can round up this pawn. So that was unfortunate, but computer says position's equal, if you can believe that. All right, so I played h6. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for his king. You know, this isn't how I normally play, but I'm down in exchange, and my pieces seem active enough. I'm just going for it. All right, he rounded up the pawn, and now queen g4. And okay, I just pinned his g pawn. So his f-pawn is hanging. But unfortunately, he saw it, and he played this move. And now another thing is when you're down in material, do you want to trade or do you not want to trade? And the answer is you don't want to trade. So the computer actually does in this case, but in general, I want to keep as many pieces on the board as possible because I'm not playing a computer, I'm playing a human. And the more pieces there are on the board, the more complicated I can make it. And the less his advantage is. So I did move my bishop to c1. And now queen f7. So I felt like, he was just like huddling all his pieces around his king. I mean, gonna make it hard for me to attack him, but oh, what the heck, I'll try anyways. Knight h4. All right. And now he proposes a trade of rooks. And note if I take it, he also gets the e file, or the d file rather. So rook e1. And now he comes down, tempo moving my queen. It's a good move, I would say. And now I had an idea. I saw that if I could, basically what I wanted to do is I'm kind of threatening this pawn, except for his queen is defending it. And that would be checkmate if the queen wasn't there defending this pawn. And the queen is defending the rook. So I thought if I could take that rook with check, then the queen would be forced to take back and I would get checkmate. So in order to do that, though, I have to move these pieces. So the knight and the bishop are in the way, but luckily I have an f-pawn. All right, so you see where I'm going with this. So I was really hoping that this sort of thing would work. So I played f4, and I actually thought it would work, but there's a reason. Well, you'll see what happens. He played bishop back, so I played my bishop here. Notice that I can't play f5 right away. That would be a bad mistake. So he attacked my bishop. I attacked him again, and I actually was offering him this pawn in hopes that my tactic would maybe win the game, or win material at least. And he took the pawn, and I played f5. But now the problem, knight c7. All right, I mean, had he gone to knight c5, this would have been really nice because my plan would come to fruition and I would mate him. It would be so nice. But I think he saw this and probably well ahead of time because he played knight c7 pretty fast. And now the knight's guarding the rook, so my little trick doesn't work anymore. And I've given up a pawn on top of it, so I was feeling a little worse now, but I'm just going to keep fighting. All right, so I don't want to trade rooks. All right, and he brings his rook back. I actually thought he should have brought his other rook down. Let's see what the computer says about that. Computer actually likes knight a6. Yeah, so probably the knight would be good here. He does do that later too. All right, so knight f3. And now he checks me. King h2. Now my bishop is pinned. And he brings his bishop in there. Bishop a3. Knight a6, so he is going for the c5 square. I move my king out of the way because I want to be able to move my bishop. And, okay, he attacks me. Yeah, and this is a sad part of the game. I forgot about this. Yeah, he not only got a tempo move on my queen, but my queen's completely trapped. So I didn't have a choice. Luckily, I had this option to trade queens. Otherwise, that would have been really bad and would have ended the game. All right, and yeah, this is just sort of a crazy position. I don't know. And I'm just down too much material. So I'm down in exchange, and pawns are equal for the moment, but I don't see how I'm going to hang on to the G pawn. He has a queenside majority. I'd say black is just winning now, but I kept trying. All right, and that trade I had to make. Knight h2. And now I had one final plan. I really wanted to play like my knight here, winning a tempo on the rook, and then if I could get here, this would actually be checkmate. Because notice my pawns covering the squares around the king as well as my rook, and the knight would also defend the square. So I thought maybe I could get a swift mate on him. I mean, you got to at least make threats, right? So maybe he saw that. And now he rounded up the pawn, and now things get really bad. So I came back to d7 with my rook, but now I really just don't want to trade, so I went down to d6, h5, I moved my knight, and now computer says I should play knight e4 here. So knight e4, just threatening this pawn with check and the fork for that matter. Yeah, I actually like that move better. Not quite sure why I went here. Yeah, and actually this loses immediately. So I'm not sure why I went to that square in hindsight. But do you see the winning move for black? Actually, there's a few of them. But I think the real crusher is rook e3. So he could have played rook e3 immediately. Instead, he decided to play bishop c7, but same idea. I'm going to move my rook. I took the pawn. And then, oh yeah, he did this. This is even worse than rook e3. I don't know why I thought he played rook e3 in the game. So king h4, and as you can see, I'm just in big trouble now because I'm going to lose more material. And yeah, he took it. And now he's threatening checkmate, so... All right, so I checked him. No choice but to trade down further, but I'm just completely lost here. And he takes my knight, and I played one more move. And here I resigned. So, okay, pretty crazy game. Definitely not my best. But, you know, you got to shake it off and learn from your mistakes. And I would say, you know, going back, one thing I would change is I wouldn't spend so much time on the opening. I'm sort of an opening junkie. I love openings. I probably know way too much theory for my rating. I probably know just too much about openings in general, and should focus more on playing actual chess. But, all right, so in this game, I should have used my opening knowledge to my advantage and just played it fairly quickly and played that e4 break quickly because I knew that was the right plan. And that left a lot less time for the rest of the game, which is part of why I probably didn't play so well. So I could improve that. The other thing I could do is next time I'll take with my queen. Taking with the rook, especially when your queen's on c2, you're obviously vulnerable to these skewers. And the queen's good in the center. And if she's not good, I'll just move her away. Not a big deal. So, okay. Yeah, so getting skewered like this, I won't forget this anytime soon. That hurt. And I'll be looking for that in these types of structures from now on. All right, and then, yeah, I actually like the way I played in this part. I wanted it to be complicated. I wanted to pose problems. I think that I did give him a lot to think about in this part of the game. I like that I didn't trade pieces. I'm pretty happy with that for the most part. Yeah, and I like that I had this tactical idea. Even though it didn't pan out, you know, there may be situations in the future where they can pan out and it'll just be forced. But I didn't see knight c7. Yeah, knight c7 saved the day. And then after this, I think I play pretty poorly. But I'm also just losing, so it's not easy to play this position. I didn't see my queen was going to get trapped like that and force the trade. And I didn't see this winning idea later either. Where is it? This part. Yeah, I didn't see this winning idea. So now my rook has to move out of the way, and this is just terrible. So check, and then he wins material. So, okay, well, I wasn't excited to relive this game, but actually I am excited because I like to learn, and I think learning from your losses is a lot more valuable than learning from your wins. And okay. So at this point in the tournament, game 1 I played against Chloe, and I just got outplayed. So I was 0 for 1 there. Second game, I saved a draw in incredible fashion in the last second, so that was good. So I was 0.5 out of 2. Then I got my first win Saturday night against Steven. So then I was 1.5 out of 3. So nice and even. And then after this game, I was 1.5 out of 4. So I was worried that it wouldn't be such a good tournament for me going into round 5, but I was also feeling hopeful that maybe I could do better. So I will post that game, and that will be my last game of this series, and then I'll go back to posting other stuff. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, and I'll see you later. Thank you. Bye.